name's Ameya. I'm with the Cascade FFA chapter, and today I'll be talking about the difference between cover crop versus non-cover crop soil. What does a soil need to be healthy? A good living ecosystem, rich organic matter, and a good granular structure. What is a good living ecosystem? A good living ecosystem consists of plants and animals that balance each other out and a source of energy, usually the sun. Rich organic matter is made of organic compounds that come from remains of plants and animals. A good granular structure is small, pore-like soil types that tend to be somewhat round in shape. This makes for very desirable seed beds for the crops and allow rapid entry of water. How do we make a soil healthy? We make a soil healthy by growing plants on the land year-round. These are known as legumes, also known as cover crops. The main advantage of growing a legume cover crop is that they take nitrogen gas from the atmosphere and put it back in the soil. This helps soils absorb more than 70% of the time. Now let's take a look at a flooded farm field. The growing season for most crops of the year is only a few months. We all know the awful springs that we have when we get super bunch of rain and it floods our fields, we have to replant, and that pushes harvest back, as you see in the picture. Here I have two soil types from Morgan County. This is a cover crop soil that had Australian field peas, and this is a non-cover crop soil that didn't have anything on it during the winter. As I dump the same amount of water in them, we can clearly see that the non-cover crop soil had more drainage than the cover crop soil did. This means that when we get hit with those heavy downpours, our cover crop soil is going to hold and absorb that water and be used for the plants later on. Now, as much as it's important to have a healthy soil in a farm setting, it's also to have healthy soil in a city setting as well. As I pour this pitcher of water on this scenery, I'm simulating a heavy rainfall. As the rain falls, the city floods. This causes huge runoff in the streams, causing flooding as you see in the picture. This can knock down trees, it can flood basements, and ruin cars just as well as too. This is why our soil needs to be healthy on both ends of the spectrum. Cover crop benefits: soil compaction, manage nitrogen and nutrients, reduce soil erosion, weed management, chemical management, yield increase, and the cation exchange capacity is also important. Soil compaction. What is it? Compaction layers in the soil can limit water infiltration and the growth of cash crops. For no-till farmers, cover crops is an excellent non-mechanical way to repair the soil for an ideal soil structure. Manage nitrogen and nutrients. Nitrogen is frequently lost during our winter months when we don't have any crops on the field. Keeping living roots in the soil to scavenge for nitrogen allows for the nitrogen to be put back in the soil. Reduce soil erosion. Soybeans tend to increase soil erosion because they leave less residue behind. This means when you harvest a soybean field in the fall, you're not having the stalks that are being left or any of that. It's just basically pretty flat. This means that the wind and rain from winter and spring can wash all that away, take dirt with it, and it causes a huge mess. Cover crops hold the roots in place and protect from soil and wind erosion. Chemical management. If your soil is not healthy, your chemicals will not work as you think that they will. This allows for maximum usage of the soil, allows for you to get more chemical for your money, and it's going to work better. Weed management. Cover crops can help weed management by causing weeds to lose space, light, nutrients, and it overall is going to help you not to have to use as many chemicals maybe in the future years after growing cover crops for so long. Cover crops can be used as a double cash crop. For example, when a farmer plants wheat after harvest, it grows all winter long, keeping that soil really rich in nutrients, keeping it all there, no soil erosion or soil compaction. Then they harvest it come spring, or they harvest it by July, and then right after you harvest it, they drill beans into it and then harvest those later in fall. This allows for two cash crops, which is going to make you more money, and it's also giving you better soil. What is the cation exchange capacity? Cation exchange capacity is the amount of pH in the soil. This is measured in pounds, and it's most commonly related to nitrogen. For example, when you put nitrogen on your fields, you're in a normal field setting, that field can only hold 150 pounds. That means you don't want to put 180 pounds of nitrogen on, because if you do, that 30 pounds that you put on there will just run off into streams and waterways. On the flip side of that, you don't want to put 100 pounds on a 150 pound field, because if you do that, you can have nitrogen deficiencies in your crops. You're going to be seeing that in your yields, and overall it's just not a good thing. So knowing about that, and the cover crops can help with that. Let's look at some common cover crops. Here we have crimson clover. Crimson clover is a fixer cover crop. That means it's putting nitrogen back in the soil that it's getting from the air. Winter Austrian field peas is also a fixer, and they're plow downs. So that means you grow them, and then when you're done with them, you just plow them over. They give a good fertilizer, and they're good for nitrogen uses. Rye is a scavenger. A scavenger has deep roots that go through the soil, bring up the nitrogen from the bottom, and surface it. That way your cash crops can use it in the spring. Thank you.